Welcome back, guys. Thanks for tuning in to another episode of Terrible Towel Tuesday. I am your host, SimFBallCritic. And let's get right into it, guys. First, I have to explain what you're looking at here. I'm behind the white wall. You know, some things changed a little bit with scheduling with my wife and I, so I'm actually doing this upstairs while she keeps the little one at bay and get through this. Because I said a lot of you guys like to see this, you know, live. You guys want to see the live stream rather than the pre-recorded version. So trying to oblige you guys the best I can. All right, so let's go ahead and jump right into it. Let's talk about a couple things, man. There are some concerns offensively and defensively for the Pittsburgh Steelers. And what I'm going to basically do, I'm going to talk about a couple things, guys, things that I took notes on during the game. But the way I want to set this one up, I'm going to actually go through the first drive, the second drive, and that'll be for the offense, okay? Then I also will go over the first 4 defensive series. And I'm going to break down some of the things that, you know, that caught my eye and things of that effect. I think you guys will probably appreciate that, all right? So, again, I'm going to break down the first and second offensive drive. Then I'm going to go back and I'm going to break down the first through 4th defensive series, all right? So let's go ahead and talk about it. So just like one of the guys here is saying, well, a couple of you guys are saying here in the chat, yes, Vance McDonald, the Steelers, hey, they pulled the trigger and they traded for a tight end, all right? What they basically gave up, if I remember correctly, in the 2018, they gave up a fourth round pick in 2018, but we also got back a 5th round pick along with McDonald. Now, the reason why this is interesting, man, because, you know, we've been talking about tight end play, right? And Xavier Grimble actually had, you know, a pretty good outing in this game. So it's interesting to see that we went after another tight end, a guy who's proven, who's done some things. The Steelers actually looked at him when he came out in the draft. You know, they liked his capability. He can stretch the field. He's not lightning fast, but he has some speed. So it's very interesting, man. So let's talk about that. What does that mean for Jesse James, Grimble, and David Johnson? And also McGee. You know, the kid McGee that's probably going to end up on the practice squad. But I think what's probably going to happen, man, it's going to be between Grimble and David Johnson. No way I think the Steelers are going to keep 4 on the active roster. If so, what does that mean for a couple other positions? You know what I mean? That's going to be interesting, man. I can't wait until this upcoming game to see how that shakes out. Might be David Johnson. Even though Johnson is a good blocker, it might be Johnson. I think the Steelers want to get more playmaking ability, more stretch to field capability out of their tight ends. If you can get potentially 2 guys like that, you could kind of put Grimble and McDonald in the same category as far as, you know, being more of a versatile type of, you know, maybe a threat down the middle of the field, where Jesse James would be more in the Heath Miller line, not nowhere close to Heath Miller, but you guys know what I'm saying. He's not going to stretch the field. He'll get open, show some good hands. That's what we probably are looking for from Jesse James, being a possession guy. But it's going to be It's going to be interesting to see how that dynamic plays out. All right, so let's move on, guys. Like I said, let me go through a couple things that I made notes on, and then we'll go in and break down those drives. All right, so I have notes on my phone here, as well as I have a notepad 3 pages long. So let's get right into it. James Conner has some very solid runs in that game. I actually watched the game again today. I watched it a total of 3 times now. Very solid, man. You know, I'm loving what I'm seeing out of James Conner. He's playing with that aggression that we've seen him play with while he was at the University of Pitt. You know, he's running with a purpose, trying to finish runs, making moves. You know, he's still doing his little spin move, you know, in the hole and things like that. So, you know, it's going to take a couple shots in the NFL for him to realize that sometimes just stick it in there, get what you can get. But I love his effort. Looking pretty good. We already know he's on the team. We ain't got to worry about that. Now, Grimble, I wanted to point out there was a counter play that we ran, and Grimble actually took out 3 people on that play. Made the first block, made the second block, knocked the second man into the third guy. Good to see Grimble trying to get his get a name for himself with blocking, all right? Because we know Grimble has been the one who's been kind of shaky. So anything he can do will help, plead a good case for him. I say you keep him. He's a raw talent. Keep him, allow him to develop, because he also had a good catch, what we're going to talk about later on in the show. Now, Landry Jones, surprisingly, very surprisingly, Landry Jones, hey, Landry played pretty good with the exception of that interception. That interception was horrible. We'll talk about that as well. But Landry Jones actually played fairly decent. He looks a little more decisive with his throws. He's going through the progressions a little more, taking what's there. Not bad. If he's going to be a backup, none of us want him starting. But let's be honest real quick, guys. I have to say this. Landry Jones is probably going to be the number 2. Josh Dobbs is clearly not the number 2 quarterback right now. So for anybody that was hoping that, just like I was early on, that has not come to fruition. Landry Jones is going to be your number 2 guy, all right? And I like what I saw from him. He didn't look as bad as he normally does. He looked serviceable, in case he needs to take over for Ben for a couple games. You know what I mean? But I do like Josh Dobbs. Don't get me wrong, but you have to judge it based off of what we see currently in preseason. Think about it. I'm not a Landry Jones fan. Most of y'all know that. But based off of what we are seeing, Landry Jones is more ready right now to be the number 2. Maybe Dobbs will come around. Maybe this last game will give him a lot of more experience. We'll see. All right? So let's go ahead and take a look at this, man. What else do we have here? Actually, speaking of Landry Jones, that was a great pass to Grimble. Great catch by Grimble down in the end zone. That was a money shot right there. Landry Jones surprised me a little bit where he placed that ball with it being man-to-man coverage. I love that. That was pretty good. And again, I like the way Grimble reached out, extended, he got it over the defender, used his body. That's what we need out of Grimble. If he can be that, yeah. Let's not forget the touchdown pass he caught against the Ravens on Christmas last year to get us our first touchdown. That's what we need out of a guy like Grimble. All right. So I definitely hope they keep him on the roster. What else do I have here, guys? Cam Sutton. Let me tell you something. Cam Sutton came in there and showed us what he could possibly do with very limited action. All right. He made a great play on that third down. And we're going to talk about it when I get over here to the defensive, breakdown. But made a great play there, made a nice tackle, gave up a third down. Yes, he did. And I saw some people ready to write him off. And I'm like, okay, every cornerback gets beat in the NFL. We can't start judging people off of one play. We need to see a body of work. My opinion, how Cam Sutton played in that game, hey, love what I see out of him already, okay? I love that. Limited action, limited practice, and he comes in and makes a play, particularly in an area where we need help, in the slot area, a crossing, somebody crossing the field, third down situation. That is what the Pittsburgh Steelers have been missing for several years. All right, let's keep it moving. Martavis Bryant looking like Martavis, but what I like about what I'm seeing out of Martavis, he's now making those high point catches in one-on-one situations, snatching the ball out the air. We know that was one of Martavis Bryant's weak spot. He wouldn't always aggressively attack the ball. Now you're seeing him catch the ball with ease and hold the ball out as to say to the defender, come on, stop it. You can't guard me. Loving that. So imagine what we're going to see him do with Ben Roethlisberger. Can't wait for that. All right, what else do we got before we start breaking things down? Juju breaks a nice tackle and gets a first down. Love it, man. Listen, he's another guy that I have a lot of high hopes for. Juju Smith-Schuster is showing flashes. Unfortunately, he's getting dinged up a lot. What I like about the fact that he's getting dinged up is the fact that it's not like season-threatening injuries. These are little, bruises and bumps, and he's able to overcome it and still play. Love that. He had a scare because the way his knee buckled, I thought, oh, man, I thought my man may have torn an ACL. I was a little nervous because I did not want that to happen to this kid. But, hey, come to find out, tweaked it a little bit. My man came back in the game, and that's what I'm talking about. He appears to be durable. Yes, he's getting nicked up, but the fact that he's staying in the game, he appears to be durable. So definitely got to point that out. I did want to comment on what Jordan Middleton is saying. Colts can't catch. Man, that one pass that ended the drive, they kind of had to dive out for it. You got to make that catch. It's the NFL. The greats and the solid receivers make that kind of catch. You want to make a case for yourself, got to make that catch. All right, and the last thing I got here, guys, I wanted to talk about a play in particular. It was in the third quarter. It was man coverage. Sutton was playing in a press technique. Harrison was standing off the line. Him and Vince Williams were kind of almost connected together. They were all three off the line, which was interesting seeing Harrison play off the line like that, right? At the snap of the ball, they did the crossfire, the cross blitz that we like to do with Harrison and Vince Williams. Dirty Red backed out in the coverage, and they were able to get the sack. But the beautiful thing was also we saw some potential. We saw Sutton, SimFBall, those two on the outside, and Hilton was in the slot on that play. It was good coverage, and the blitz got home. Arthur Moats pushed the outside, made Morris step up, and both Harrison and Vince Williams came up with the sack. That was an outstanding play. If you guys got the game recorded or if you're able to watch it again, it was right in the third quarter, right around 12 to 13 minutes left. That was an excellent play. That's what I'm talking about. That's what we need from the Steelers defense from time to time, getting off the field in them type of situations and doing some different things. Like I said, having Medikevich and Vince Williams and James Harrison kind of huddled up in the middle there, and then, running a sneaky blitz with those two and dropping one in coverage and then playing man across the board. Beautiful. Beautiful. All right, guys, so let's get right into it. Here we go. Bear with me. So let's go with the first drive. And then, I may not get everything, guys, but I'm going to just, give you what caught my eye. First drive, Now Davis runs very, very well. 2 strong runs. Loving what I'm seeing out of Now Davis from the run game. We all know that that's been, a knock against him, while in Kansas City. Even though other, running backs was getting the bulk of the carries, he hasn't really produced as well running the ball. He's been more of a special teams guy. He's making it very hard for a lot of other running backs, man, that's trying to make the roster. He could be making it very hard for a guy like Toussaint. Because let me tell you who else is running well. Even though he's way down the depth chart, this kid Watson is running well. And if I'm not mistaken, he's a younger guy, so they could possibly, practice squad him. But Now Davis is making a case. Again, I think this last game will make a lot of determination for a few guys. All right. What else did I see? It was interesting that Now Davis got the start. That's very telling to me. Now, I do understand it's preseason, and I understand that the coaches are going to do certain things. Depth charts doesn't always matter in preseason because they're wanting to see certain guys for a certain reason. But again, Now Davis got the start. They pretty much know what James Conner's going to do. He's young. They know they're going to keep him. I think the competition is Now Davis and Toussaint. Now Davis got the start. That is key. Then here comes James Conner. Really didn't see Toussaint. Toussaint was basically splitting time with Watson, in which Watson outperformed him. I'm just saying. All right. Now, I see somebody says that they like Watson over Now Davis. You got to look at it like this, man. The NFL, too, sometimes you got to go with veterans. You know what I mean? I like Watson as well, but it could very well come down to what can Watson give us, because I would assume if they keep Now Davis, they're going to keep trying Now Davis in the kick return game. Let's say if he's not panning out, they'll cut him during the season. Then maybe you bring Terrell Watson up. And I think that's probably why Watson gets the practice squad position right out the gate. But we'll see. We'll see. All right, here's another thing I noticed in the first drive. Ben Roethlisberger was sharing the wealth. He's getting everybody involved. He's getting, Antonio Brown gets involved. Martavis Bryant, he's sharing the ball. Eli Rogers performs very well in this game. But then what happens? Strip sack. Why? Villanueva, and I'm looking at my notes, guys, so if you can see me keep looking over. Villanueva gives up a terrible sack fumble. I mean, good Lord, he got beat like he stole something on that play. Now, we like Villanueva, at least I do, but you got to keep an eye on something like that. You know, he's gotten his money now. Let's see if he can continue to play the way we want him to develop. But you know what happens? Everybody gets beat. I'm not one of those fans that feel like, oh, let's throw somebody in the trash because they give up a play. Everybody gets beat. Hey, I was watching the Redskin game over the weekend, and Josh Norman got beat. You know why? Because, you know, he was going up against A.J. Green. But you know why else? Every cornerback gets beat as well. And I know that's a different position, but you understand what I'm saying. It doesn't mean a guy is trash unless he has a track record. Ross Cockrell, we'll talk about him in a moment. All right, so what also happens, man, on the first defensive drive? Watt is starting, which is interesting as well because James Harrison played in that game. So maybe what the coaches, you know, are speculating what Joey Porter said is probably going to be the truth. TJ Watt is probably going to be the starter. I'm cool with that. I'm cool with starting Watt and allowing James to spell him versus, you know, the vice versa, because that was what Jarvis Jones was supposed to do. He was supposed to start, and James Harrison would come in certain situations. If we can get that from TJ Watt and Harrison, I'm cool with that. So I have no beef there. Very first play, 50-something yard gain by Moncrief. Now, let me explain to you why that happened as I looked at the game again. So Artie Burns was on the coverage, you know, got the pass in there. You know, Artie Burns wasn't that far away. He caught it. Artie Burns was right there to try to, you know, tackle the catch, so to speak. Here comes Robert Golden. Instead of wrapping up, leans in with the shoulder, knocks Artie Burns off of him, and Moncrief proceeds to run down the field. Now, the reason why I'm breaking all of this down, guys, is because I've heard from a few people, and shout outs to, you know, my father-in-law. He knows who he is. I've heard from a few people that the defense looked bad. The defense is playing horribly. No. I'm going to explain it. Give me time. If you really watch the game, the defense is not playing that bad. I'm going to explain to you why, as well as the pressure. People are saying we're not getting any pressure. Go back and watch it. There's very few times where the quarterback had a long time to throw the ball. There was quite a few plays where pressure was happening. I mean, 2.5, 3 seconds, he got to get rid of the ball. So, but I'm going to explain it. Hold on. All right, so that's the first drive. Also, Cockrell gets spun around on play action right at the goal line. He gets lost in space there. Bud Dupree gets good pressure on that third down, and Cockrell gets called for pass interference. Listen, young man, it's the NFL. I know everybody makes mistakes. Can't be giving up a PI on third down in a goal line situation. That's the difference in 3 points and 7 points. So that's the first drive. All right. Let's go back to the second drive of the Pittsburgh offense. Now, I got to shout out my guy, Tony. I know he's in here watching. Me and him talked about this as well. Here's what's a little concerning. I want you guys to keep this in the back of your mind because we've seen this in the last couple of years. We have this high-powered offense, right? Why is it that we stall out a lot in the red zone? Why is it that we can't score that often in the red zone? Now, Tony and I talked about this, but as I watched the game again today, I'm not ready to beat them up as much about this game because it was only 2 series. The first series, we give up a sack, but then the second series, we did get in the red zone, and I'll go ahead and tell you what actually happened here. All right, now, actually, it was the second drive where Ben was including everybody in the action, you know, Eli Rogers, Bryant, and, you know, also Antonio Brown. Antonio Brown making ridiculous catches, especially the one when he turns backwards. Him and Ben looking like they're in midseason form already. Not at all worried about that. Eli Rogers looking very good. You know, remember, a lot of us was saying, hey, you know, maybe Juju's going to take that spot. I don't know. It all depends on what they want Juju to do. Eli Rogers is also, you know, a perfect fit for a slot guy. However, Juju, if he could perform like that, his body size could create more of a mismatch in the slot. But I think we're going to see a mix of both of them. I think we might even see some 4 wide receiver formations where it's Martavis, AB, Juju, and Eli. That could get crazy. I think we might see a little bit of that. So we're going to have to keep our eye on formations and who's lined up where. But I still like Eli Rogers. All right? Now, as far as the red zone, if you take a look at what really happened, in this particular game, that kid, Farley, that safety played very well down in there. He made 2 consecutive plays, one in which he knocked the ball away, right? He knocked the ball away. I think the pass was going to, I want to say, I can't remember if it was Jesse James. I know the second time it was Jesse James. That pass to Jesse James, nice catch. Ben put it up high. James catches the ball. Farley comes in, knocks it out of his hand with his helmet. Could have been called for, hitting the guy in the head, but they let it go, and they stalled out. Now, what I'm saying is, on that particular drive, I saw us march down the field, and it was more of the defensive play that kept the drive to not keep going, to stall the drive, versus what we have seen over the last couple of years. We've seen bad play calling, or we've seen nobody open, or we give up a sack, or Ben airmails it or something like that. We didn't see that in that second drive. We marched down the field, and Farley, this kid, made 2 great plays. Go back and watch it. So after watching it the second time, I would have to say, okay, I'm not going to beat them up about the red zone this game. 2 drives, sack, fumble, second drive, Farley makes a great play. We'll have to keep our eye on it. Let's keep our eye on it, because remember, myself and Tony are saying this. Red zone efficiency. Are we going to improve in that area this coming season? All right? So let's take a look. Let me turn the page here. And we're going to talk about the second defensive drive. Okay, so again, I'm not going to say everything, guys, just things that pop out to me. There was good pressure on first down, and Tozine scrambles away. Go back and look at it. We get great pressure from the outside and the middle. Tozine is able to step up and scramble for about 8-9 yards. That's going to happen. The key is we got pressure and got him off of his spot, okay? We also missed the tackle by Ryan Shazier. There was a run. Shazier shoots the gap, misses the tackle. Frank Gore is able to get some good yards there. For the most part, the Steelers defense has done well against the run. We're continuing to do that in the preseason. We did give up a couple runs. I'll say 2 runs that was beyond 10 yards. Got to eliminate that. But we're doing a fairly decent job in the run game, which I expect us to do so. That particular play, like I said, Shazier missed the tackle. There was another play later on in the game where Metakevich, same situation. He shoots the gap, misses the tackle. Big run. All right? Now, here's another thing. Tuitt and Watt are combining to do a lot of things. In that particular drive, both of them met in the backfield with a tackle for loss. Love seeing that. All right? Now, let me see, what do I have here? There was a hands to the face by T.J. Watt when he was trying to cover a receiver or a running back, whatever that was. That's something we're going to have to keep an eye on. Remember, the Steelers linebackers, they drop in coverage at time, for time to time. That's going to be a challenging spot for this kid Watt. And as soon as we see him do it, his back is turned. He's trying to face guard the guy, hands to the face. That keeps the drive going, automatic first down. Have to, limit that. All right. What else do I have here? Questionable call. Okay, yeah, the T.J. Watt was questionable. Now, here's another thing I'm noticing, guys. Did y'all notice that in the very second drive, second series defensively, there was no Ross Cockrell? I think we have a real competition here between him and SimFBall. SimFBall actually played more than Cockrell. That's very interesting, right? Now, I noticed one other thing. Who's been playing man coverage quite often? And I'm talking like press man. Artie Burns is playing a lot of press coverage. Love it. Matter of fact, and shout outs again to my father-in-law, shout outs to Leonard. We always have this debate over man and zone. He seems to think that the Steelers aren't playing man, they're still playing zone. No. If you watch the games in this preseason, especially in this game, they playing a lot of man coverage, and they're playing man coverage a lot on third down. That is very encouraging because that lets me know if we can get some pressure and we can get these corners to hold their spot for a little bit, yeah, boy, that's what we need. If the Steelers can resort to playing man coverage on third down and not zone, that puts us in a better position against a team like New England. Not saying we're ready to beat them yet. I'm a realist. I'm still sticking through. I got the shirt on, the hat, the towel, but I'm a realist. I'm not saying we're ready to beat New England, but I'm saying if we can have that kind of mentality and we're able to play man coverage in third down situations and get a little pressure, oh yeah, I like the odds better than last year when all we were doing was spot dropping. You understand what I'm saying? Very encouraging, and we're doing it quite often. And like I said, Artie Burns is up in the face of people. Artie Burns is playing pretty well, man. Artie is not, having a bad preseason. Like I said, guys are going to get beat. But even when guys are catching the ball on Artie Burns, he's right there. It's not like, he's getting torched. Keep an eye on it. All right, I think there was something else I had for that drive. I just said, yeah, with pressure. We were getting pressure on that particular series, forcing Tozine out of the pocket. Go back and take a look at it. The kid never really had more than 3 seconds. So, my question is to some of you guys who are viewing and just questions in general, what do you consider pressure? I think some people get, blinded and they think sacks. But if you look at an NFL game, how many sacks actually occur in a game? Pressure is making the quarterback get off his spot or rushing his throw. That's pressure. We were doing that. There were quite a few times where Bud Dupree was right there. And there was a time when TJ Watt was right there. There was even times later in the game when James Harrison hits the quarterback as he throws. Tua did that. Metakevich did that. And that kid Morris later on in the game just made some outstanding plays. But the pressure is there. The pressure to me looked better than it did last week. Now, however, comma but, we got to turn some of this into sacks. Or the coverage when the pressure is decent, when the pressure is allowing the ball to get out with, before, less than 3 seconds, 3 seconds or less. Now the back end has to do their job. All right. If the pressure is not getting there, or let's say, the pressure is not getting there before 3 seconds, then you can't really blame the back end because they work hand in hand. But if you can limit a quarterback to a maximum of 3 seconds, your back end gonna have to do a better job. You stick with your man for about 3. Allow that pressure to get there. All right. Okay, so next, I got some more here on that drive. Frank Gore picks up another 11-yard gain. Great coverage by Sean Davis in the end zone. Again, that relates back to what I just said. Pressure forced the quarterback out of the pocket, throws deep. Sean Davis is in position to knock the ball away and or possibly get an interception, but he couldn't keep his feet in bounds. We're going to need Sean Davis to be around the ball more like that. That was good to see. Let's see. TJ Watt almost knocked down a screen pass on that drive. And I said again here, the defense is playing man coverage. So I wrote the same thing twice. All right, now there was a 3rd and 6. Let's talk about this. I think this was the 2nd or 3rd drive. Excuse my notes. But there was a 3rd and 6. Watt and Tua got pressure. Gay gets beat underneath for the first down. Did y'all see that? Got the pressure, man coverage. William Gay gets beat. Hopefully that'll be, Sutton or Hilton that'll take that spot eventually. But again, everybody gets beat. He did tackle the catch, but they got the first down. All right, I have something else here. It was a pivot route or shake route, actually, I believe, against Gay. Got to make that tackle. And on that particular drive, it was Hilton and Gay were out there. We were running the dime package, guys. We were running the dime in that particular formation. Don't know if you guys remember that, but we had all of those DBs out there. Hilton and Gay was out there playing, and SimFBall and Burns. We were playing the dime, and Hilton actually did a great job against the tight end because it was that formation where the tight end and the receiver were kind of lined up together. The receiver ran the quick shake, and then Hilton and William Gay had to decide who they were picking up. Hilton picked up the tight end, solid coverage. Gay gives it up for 7 yards. But it was dime coverage, dime formation. That's another thing that the Steelers are looking to do this year. All right, guys. Third defensive drive, and then we'll do the fourth defensive drive, and then we'll be done. So on the third defensive drive, what was the biggest thing I noticed? Which is pretty much the only thing I wrote down. Ross Cockrell gets beat again downfield. And not only did he get beat, he's doing this. He don't even know where the ball at. Don't even know where the ball at. Now, it was a holding or something like that on the offense, and they called it back. But it doesn't excuse the fact that Cockrell got beat. Cockrell got beat. And now that I'm trying to remember it, I just watched it a few hours ago. The call might have been against the defense. I don't remember. But either way, Cockrell gets beat again downfield. Here's a guy, if you want to develop an opinion about a player, I'll accept that. We could all probably say, listen, Cockrell's not the best guy. He's shown a history of getting torched. He's shown a history. A guy like Sutton or Artie Burns, they give up a play. Come on. You can't call them bums. They don't have a history of getting blazed like that. Well, definitely not Sutton because he's brand new, but you understand what I'm saying. We can say that about Cockrell because it seems like Cockrell, especially in this preseason, has just been getting the business. I mean, in the Atlanta game, he gets it. In this game early on, he gets called for PI on third down in the end zone. On this third defensive drive, beat again deep downfield. And if I'm not mistaken, we didn't see Cockrell the rest of the night. Now, the Steelers did mix in some zone as well in these downs. And what I'm noticing, too, is when we're playing zone, we're there, but we're not as close, which obviously man and zone is different. But it seems like when they were really able to pull off their biggest plays was when we were running zone. And, you know, I honestly feel like that Keith Butler, they're just trying things out. It's preseason. As well as, guys, you cannot play man coverage the whole game. Some people seem to think that. You cannot play man coverage the entire game. You just can't. No defense does that. Well, some, they take a chance. Maybe the Denver Broncos, the year, you know, when they had Miller and Ware and, you know, you got these beasts at corner. But the Pittsburgh Steelers, let me just talk about the Pittsburgh Steelers. We can't play man coverage all game. So I don't want to hear you guys complaining about us playing zone from time to time. We don't have those corners yet that we can consistently play man. And if you think about the NFL teams that do it, look at the tandems that they have, okay? Just look at the tandems. Everybody can do it, okay? All right, so let's go ahead and get down to, let's see here. In that same drive, we got good pressure again on a particular play, and T.J. Watt is able to deflect the pass to cause a 4th and 1. Again, I saw better press man coverage. I saw better pressure in this game. We may not have came up with too many sacks. I believe we got 2 sacks. But, hey, the guys are balling. They're doing okay. Not great, not terrible, but they're doing better than some people are giving them credit for. So 4th and final drive that I covered, you know, I watched the rest of the game, of course, but, you know, we don't need to go beyond that. We saw what we needed to see. All right, 4th drive, Dirty Red gets pressure and hits Morris. And like I said, my man just makes a great play. That was also a zone play where Artie Burns, the guy caught the ball in front of Artie Burns. He challenged it. Receiver made a great catch. So, again, Artie Burns wasn't too far away from the play. Receiver just made a better play, but what a throw by Morris. I like that kid Morris, man. Stands in there and takes the lick and delivers. Showing some good things, man. Nice things. Maybe I think if it was me, I might think about putting him in over Tozine. I don't know. I'm just saying. All right, so what else did I have here for that? Chicolo gets beat in coverage to give up a 17-yard gain. Now, why did I write that down? Again, when I have these discussions with people that think that their defense is just trash, you have to sometimes look at the makeup of what happened on the play. That's Anthony Chicolo on a receiver. That's Anthony Chicolo. So a lot of times when plays like this happen, I hear people say, oh, see, the secondary is trash. Like, no, that was a play in which the Steelers got caught with Chicolo and man coverage, and he loses the matchup. So this is what I'm saying, man. We have to got to analyze the game and pinpoint what actually happened to really determine who's playing good and who's playing bad. And you also have to take in consideration the quarterback on the other side of the ball sees his matchup. They know where to go. Remember when we played the Patriots early last year and we kept getting caught for whatever reason with Lawrence Timmons on Edelman, and Brady basically threw it to Edelman like he had like 9 catches for 98 yards, 10-yard gain pretty much every time? That was the matchup. You understand what I'm saying? So in that scenario, you can't necessarily say the defense as a whole was getting torched. It was that matchup. Now, why we didn't switch that matchup out, I don't know. You know, both Lawrence Timmons and Shazier were on the field. I was like, why don't you put Shazier in that spot? Because he's a little faster, but hey, hindsight's 2020. All right, and the last thing I said here, man, William Gay actually made a nice play. Once again, looked like we were in dime personnel on that particular play. I'll have to go back and look at it again. Don't quote me on it. But judging by all the players that were on the field and the fact that Cornell Lake says he sees Hilton as a dime back, once again, Gay actually made a great play against the tight end, ran the route for him, and almost picked it off. So how I'm looking at it now, guys, I think William Gay should probably be a situational corner. I'm hoping that Hilton and or Cam Sutton will be able to supplant William Gay in that starting nickel spot, right? And then bring William Gay in the dime or something like that because, I mean, he's still a veteran. He can still offer you something in coverage. I just don't want William Gay to be the key component on the outside or the key component in the slot. I'm cool with him being on the field doing a dime scenario. Cool with that. All right, guys. So thank you for bearing with me, man. We're pretty much done here, but let me say one thing. I want to see if you guys noticed it, and then I'll come and look at some of your comments here. Isn't it kind of interesting, though, that it seems like the backup defense has performed better than the first team in this preseason? I mean, is it because the backups for the other teams are not as good as our backup defense, or what is it? But you would have to actually say the backups have outperformed the first string. However, again, I think the first string had a good game first 2 series. Wasn't bad. That Moncrief play, you got to make the tackle. If Mike Mitchell was in there, maybe he makes that tackle. I don't know. He lunges as well, but that wasn't necessarily the fault of Artie Burns. But it is kind of funny how the second team seems to be playing a little better. But I'm encouraged because I'm seeing guys in backup roles that are playing well. We're going to need it, people. The Pittsburgh Steelers are going to need backups this year. We don't have beasts in any position outside of Stephon Tuitt, Hayward, Hargrave. Artie Burns, okay. Can't say he's a beast yet. Nor can you say that about Sean Davis. Ryan Shazier is an animal. But then behind those guys, you see what I'm saying? Any one of these guys get nicked up. Look at that depth. You know what I mean? We're going to need these backup guys to play and play well. All right? So let's take a look at what some of you guys are saying. I see we got some non-Steeler fans in here, guys, that has disliked the video. It's all good, man. Let's see what you guys got real quick before we get out of here. Oh, you guys are arguing about Josh Dobbs. I'm not even going to jump into that. Still Jedi says, Sim, could you use Landry as trade bait after this year? Possible. It depends on the team. Has Landry Jones performed that well to warrant a trade? What team would take him? You know what I mean? That's an interesting one, because you kind of look at how we were able to acquire Landry Jones where we did, with that kind of money. Now, if for whatever reason he gets in there and plays well this year because Ben's not in there, now you got a different story. We'll have to see. I see a lot of you guys are saying Dobbs over Landry. Listen, only thing I would say about that, we all have our own opinions. All I would want you to do is look at how they have played so far. In my opinion, I am not a Landry Jones fan. Y'all know that. I've been ticked off about him since he's been there. He hasn't shown any real progression. But in this game that we just saw, he outperformed Josh Dobbs as far as passing. However, that interception he threw in the end zone, that's same old Landry Jones right there. Same old Landry Jones. Dobbs has also thrown interceptions. Now, will Dobbs eventually be better? Very possible. But don't forget, guys, we're talking about a rookie. We're talking about a rookie who's not a superstar. You have to keep that in mind. Got to keep that in mind. All right, let's see what else you guys got. I did like the Juju plays. Yes, I did. Extreme Skins 04 says, as a Pats fan, I always have the most respect for the Steelers. I think Ravens, Colts, and Broncos are a bunch of babies. I'll let any Raven fans in here argue that point. See what else you guys got going on here. Bart Houston, come on, man. No. No. As you see, my man didn't even play. That's letting us know that he has no chance. They're not going to cut Landry at this point. They're definitely not cutting Dobbs, being a third-round pick. So Bart Houston, unfortunately, hey, we appreciate you being a camp body. And a lot of you guys are saying Landry Jones needs to go. Listen, man, I'm with y'all. I understand it, but let's talk about right now. The season is pretty much set as far as the roster. Next week, or Thursday, actually, we're going to see the last group of guys that are really going, fighting to get to the team and make a name for themselves. But the core is already set. So it just is what it is for this season. And I see a lot of you guys were talking about Joe Hayden. Listen, I gotta mention this, man. I seen people say today that trade Stephon Tuitt or Bud Dupree for Joe Hayden. No comment. Do we still have D'Angelo? Not trying to be mean, but if you don't know that, you're really not following the team, buddy. Hayden's bad games are still better than Carco's best games. No. But listen, what is it going to take for us to get Joe Hayden? Who are we trading? That's a real question. Who are we trading? And we're talking about the same Joe Hayden. Now, I know it's not fair to say this, but the same Joe Hayden that AB just dances all over him anytime he wants to. AB is probably the best receiver. If he's at least one of the best in the league. I get that, but I'm just saying. Let's not act like Joe Hayden is the same Joe Hayden he used to be. So we need to stop that. Jordan Middleton says, I love Sinquez Golson, but he's not making the roster. Let's be real. He's not. Did you hear what Tomlin said today? He said there's nothing to evaluate. He hasn't practiced. He's getting cut. Let's see. I do like Watson, man, but I'm concerned as far as whose spot will he take. A lot of you, I think, are asking for certain people out of emotion. The kid is still a rookie, so I don't know. Oh, well, I think he's a rookie if I'm not mistaken, but I don't know if he takes Davis' spot. He's not going to take Connor's spot. It's the reason why he's where he's at. Remember, now Davis was probably brought in primarily to help with special teams. Let's not forget that. We can't just look at it as running back depth chart. You got to think about the team as a whole. I want them to keep my man DeMarcus Ayers. He's not going to make the team. Same deal. He hasn't played enough this offseason. Let's see here. Yeah, I think we may be done, guys, unless I see another question. But I love, interacting with you guys, man. That's why I like doing it here live. This is probably going to be the format I always do it. Maybe keep it at 8 p.m. And, if you guys prefer it that way, that's what we'll do. Let's see. And yeah, Dobbs just got to get his accuracy game together, man. That the mental stuff will come. Yeah, Tony says Cockrell has problems with small, shifty receivers, but shut down A.J. Green and bigger receivers, definitely in last season. Yeah. To be fair, though, a lot of that was when we were running zone 2. So it'll be interesting to see how he would fare against those guys in man situations. It's going to be very interesting. Let's see. What else you guys got? Still Jedi says, I believe Sutton can even win the outside job by week 5. Yeah, that's a good point, Jedi. Very, very good point. We saw Cam Sutton playing inside and out in this last game, and that's supposed to be his pedigree. So let's keep an eye on Cam Sutton, man. Let's just keep an eye on him. Very good outing for it being your first preseason, performance. You got on the field, made some great plays, made a great tackle. That's what we need out of our corners. And he broke up a pass, gave up an 8-yard first down. But hey, no corner is perfect. I like what I see out of Cam Sutton, and is very encouraging seeing that this man has not played much or practiced much and came in and made significant plays. Keep an eye on him. Keep an eye on him. Let's see. I think that's about it. So, all right, guys, we're going to go ahead and wrap this thing up, man. We've gone way, way long. But hey, when you're talking Steelers, man, it could go extremely long. But that's just my thoughts, man. I, broke down the first 2 drives by our offense, the first 4 defensive drives. Again, if you have it, if you recorded it, go take a look at the game and match what I'm saying. And you will see for yourself that the defense didn't play as bad as you think, especially with getting pressure. They actually got some pressure going. Shocked me a little bit. Let me see if anybody is talking about the trade again. Let me see. Somebody's talking about. Let me see. One other thing here by Still Jedi. The starting lineup needs to be Burns and Sutton on the outside. Yes, I said outside, and Hilton, Gay in the slot, but Hilton starting over Gay. Hey, that's very possible, man. I'm still interested too to see a little more out of SimFBall, just to see where he's at. We haven't seen him challenge that much, even though he's been playing, and maybe that's a good thing. Maybe his guy hasn't been open. I don't know, but you got a good point there. At least Sutton and Burns or Sutton and SimFBall would be my thought process as well, with Hilton in the inside. And Cockrell, I just think, I don't know. Cockrell has me feeling very shaky, man. And I think if he starts, well, we don't know. Let's see. I think it's still up for grabs. But if he starts the season, I think he gets pulled out of there very soon. It says, if it was on the table, would you consider trading Le'Veon Bell for one of the top cornerbacks? No, I would not. Absolutely would not. Absolutely would not. All right. There we go. That's going to do it. Very, very long Terrible Towel Tuesday. I hope you guys enjoyed it. Y'all know the routine, man. If you haven't already, make sure you subscribe to the channel. Cut on your notifications so you are aware of new videos. And I promise, guys, it will never hurt you to hit that like button. And for you guys who are fans, come by for gaming, I'll be right back at you very, very shortly, probably in the next 15 to 20 minutes. Let's say around 9:15-ish. We'll be doing another stream here tonight on the gaming aspect. But all right, man, I appreciate all of you guys coming through. Let's swing the Terrible Towel, man. Try to give these guys some energy and some luck for this upcoming game. This is one of my favorite games because you really get to see who's trying to go for it. Because some of these guys don't have a chance. Some of these other guys probably maybe a good 5 positions. I could maybe a little more. these guys are going to determine, it's going to determine whether they make the team or not. So I can't wait to see that game. All right. It's going to be a good thing. All right, guys, that's going to do it. Thanks for tuning in. And we'll be back at you next Thursday with another recap and perhaps well, by that time, I guess the cuts will be in. I was going to say we'll do a roster predictor, but at that point, the roster will be set and we'll talk about it. All right, man. Held you guys long enough. Catch you guys later. Peace.